Most people think apple cider vinegar and lemon water do the same thing for the liver, but they don't. They work in very different ways, and together they support a cleaner, healthier liver that's much better at burning fat. So let's break down what apple cider vinegar really does for your liver, what lemon does differently, and how to use both the right way to help you lose fat and keep it off. Okay, so how does apple cider vinegar work? And what makes it different from lemon water, especially when it comes to your liver? The hardest working filter in the body. The key active ingredient in apple cider vinegar is called acetic acid. It makes up about 5% of ACV. It's what gives vinegar its strong sour taste. One of the unique things about acetic acid is that it can only be processed by your liver. Most acids you eat just get neutralized by your body, but the acid in ACV works differently. Your body doesn't treat it like food. It treats it more like a signal that your liver has to respond to, which forces your liver to change the way it works. Why? Because to deal with acetic acid, the liver has to use energy. And when the liver starts using energy, it triggers something called AMPK. You don't need to remember the name. All you need to know is that AMPK is what your body turns on when energy is being used, like during exercise or during fasting. And once AMPK is turned on, it tells your body to start using the sugar in your bloodstream for energy instead of storing it as fat. That means you can actually prevent the formation of fat both in your liver and the rest of your body simply by drinking ACV at the right time. Early research on animals, which is what comes before studies on humans, shows that ACV lowered liver fat by as much as 27% in just a matter of weeks. That's a big deal, especially considering 100 million Americans roughly have some form of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Due to their diet, due to their lifestyle, most people don't even know it because the liver is extremely resilient. It can struggle for years without causing pain or discomfort or any kind of symptoms. By the time the symptoms show up, the damage is often much harder to reverse. So if you haven't been watching what you eat, if you're in the habit of snacking throughout the day, if you don't get healthy amounts of sleep, if you're chronically stressed, if you're on a lot of medications, even over-the-counter ones like Tylenol are very hard on the liver, chances are you have some degree of fatty liver. And that's resulting in things like insulin resistance, diabetes, and a risk of heart disease, not to mention stubborn belly fat. And drinking ACV might be the easiest thing you can do to start fighting back. Another way the acetic acid helps your liver is through something called the gut-liver axis. Your digestion and your liver are directly connected. They literally are wired together. And everything that you absorb from food doesn't go straight into your body. It goes to your liver first. When digestion is working well, food gets broken down properly. The liver processes nutrients, removes waste, and regulates blood sugar the way it's supposed to so that sugar doesn't get turned into fat. But when digestion is struggling, food isn't broken down completely. And when that happens, bacteria starts feeding on the leftover food, producing waste in the process. Now, a little bit of that is very normal in the gut. But when digestion is particularly overwhelmed, like it often is for people over the age of 50, more of that waste leaks through. And the first place it goes is your liver, which then has to prioritize cleaning it up. So as a result, it stops controlling insulin as well because it's being worked overtime on the waste. More fat gets stored in the liver, and fat loss becomes harder everywhere else. There's no pain. You just start to feel more bloated or tired or inflamed and overweight. You have no idea why. At the same time, a stressed liver produces less bile, and less bile means worse digestion. So it turns into this vicious cycle between the digestive system and the liver. Now, one major reason this shows up after age 50 is that stomach acid tends to decline with age. Less stomach acid means food doesn't get broken down properly. A lot of people actually mistake this for high stomach acid. They feel heartburn or reflux and assume acid is the problem, but oftentimes it's the opposite. Food sits too long, ferments, and creates gas that pushes acid upward. So instead of taking acid-blocking medications, which can actually make digestion worse and are really hard on the kidneys, by the way, a simple step like apple cider vinegar can help. The acetic acid raises stomach acidity at the right time, helping food break down properly. That leads to fewer waste products in the gut, which takes pressure off the liver and frees it up to focus on its many jobs, including burning fat. However, this only works if you use apple cider vinegar the right way. You want it organic, raw, ideally, unfiltered. That apple cider vinegar, including the mother, that's the cloudy substance at the bottom of the bottle, it contains the live probiotic bacteria and enzymes and compounds that support digestion. Start with 1 tablespoon per day and possibly work your way up to 2 as you get used to it. Any more than that, and it starts to get diminishing returns, and it's not the most tasty thing. But when you drink it, make sure you dilute it. 8 to 12 ounces of water. I would not advise drinking it straight. To protect your teeth, if you're worried about that, drink it through a straw if you can, and then rinse your mouth with plain water afterwards. Otherwise, the acid will start to soften the enamel on your teeth, and you'd never want to brush your teeth within a half hour after drinking apple cider vinegar. Because once that enamel's gone, it's gone. It's not coming back. Now, the easiest way that I do it, I just take a capsule form. So I literally took apple cider vinegar organic with the mother and then just put it into a powder form. And those good bacteria, the good probiotics, I just put them all together in a capsule. 3 capsules equals 1 tablespoon. I don't have to worry about my teeth. I don't have to struggle through the taste of it. I'll put a link to that below if you want an easier way to take it. That's the way that I do it. And just making sure that it's clean and it's got those other added components so I can get the complete benefit and not create any sort of not desired side effects. Now, as for timing, one of the most useful times to take it is 15 to 30 minutes before a meal, especially if it has a lot of carbohydrates. So I'd take 1 capsule before each meal. Or if you know you're going to have a carb-heavy meal, then take a tablespoon or equivalent to those 3 capsules before the meal, 15 to 30 minutes before. That's when the liver is deciding whether to use sugar or to store it. And it's exactly when your stomach needs more acid in order to digest the food properly. Now, let's shift gears to lemon water and go through how it also supports the liver, but it does it in a completely different way. While the active ingredient in apple cider vinegar is acetic acid, the active ingredient in lemon water is citric acid. And instead of controlling how your body uses and stores sugar, it affects how bile is released. Bile is made in the liver. It's what breaks down fat. And like we discussed, it's also one of the main ways that your body gets rid of waste in your system. So when bile flow slows down, fat digestion worsens, and waste builds up in your body instead of being eliminated. Over time, that can result in a fatty liver, but lemon water can help. The citric acid in lemon acts as a signal that food is coming. That encourages the liver to release bile and keep it moving, resulting in better fat digestion and a healthier liver. This is especially important for people who feel heavy or bloated, especially right after meals, or those who don't tolerate fatty foods the way that they may be used to. You get a little indigestion after eating a heavier fat meal. 2 other key components in lemon water are its vitamin C content and something called polyphenols. Every day your liver is exposed to stress. Sugar metabolism, alcohol, medications, environmental toxins, even normal metabolism creates damage inside liver cells. This damage comes from unstable molecules called free radicals. These damage liver cells the same way rust damages metal. But vitamin C and lemon polyphenols act like cellular bodyguards. They neutralize those free radicals before they get a chance to damage liver cells. That's why lemon juice has been shown to lower liver enzymes and reduce fat buildup in the liver when it's under stress. So instead of changing how fat is created, like apple cider vinegar does, lemon water helps limit the ongoing damage. So let's talk about how to use it correctly. Make sure you're using fresh lemons, not the bottled lemon juice. You're just losing some of the protective nutrients when you do that. If the only thing you have access to is bottled, then go for that. I'd rather you go for it than not. But fresh lemons are ideal. Bottled juice tends to be pasteurized, so it destroys many of those beneficial compounds, including altering the vitamin C. Now, regarding the amount, squeeze half a lemon, and go for a full one if you want to, into about 8 to 12 ounces of water. I'm more on the 12 side, sometimes even push it to 16, but usually around 12. Now, due to the acidity, I recommend using a straw, protect your teeth, just like with apple cider vinegar. Don't brush your teeth right after for 30 minutes. I usually drink it, and then I just rinse my mouth and have a little bit more water after that. As for timing, I recommend drinking it in the morning on an empty stomach to jumpstart your bile flow. You can also use it right before meals with the apple cider vinegar to further improve digestion and to maximize the benefits to your liver. Like you could take the apple cider vinegar capsule and wash it down with a glass of lemon water. I use lemon water often. I like it just for something else to drink, and I love it for its free radical antioxidant benefits and just helping digestion stay normal, feel lighter, feel fresher. And now, believe it or not, we've only scratched the surface on what lemon water can do for you. What we talked about here is just one small piece of how it supports your liver, but there are effects that only show up when lemon water becomes a daily habit. Once you understand what they are, you'll likely never stop drinking it, just like me. I break down all that in my next video. I will include a link to it here. Click it to watch now, and I'll see you there.